For example, and this is something I would like to ask you about.
So now we talk about demonstration of higher value, which is this concept is invented by Mystery, and this is a good concept. This is a legitimate good concept, and I also implement it in my game also, but in a very different way, in a more practical way, uh, which uh, which is more practical on the because a lot of concepts what they have these guys have made like mysteries for like 6 feet 5 good white good looking guy white good looking guy so lot of things the DHE what he is saying it may not work for some other type of people other people who has a different SMV so on the ground on the practical level on the ground in the field, the practical implementation need to be done in a different way. But before we move forward, here's the quick important message. If you're still suffering in your dating life and not able to find the right solution for the problems what you're facing in your dating life, then now it's time to change it forever. And if you're committed, then get to a 30-minute call with me where I will listen to your problems what you are facing in your dating life and I will give you the best solution which will efficiently solve your dating problems. So book a 30-minute consultation call with me. The link is in the description below and let's solve your dating issues once for all. I am also the creator of dating product of the century, Dating Infields Domination, which is Unchallenged, the best live example dating product, where you will not only see my live examples of me interacting with people, making some of them my life partner, but also my students doing the same. And live examples are from all over the world like New York, London, Europe, Las Vegas, and from all races. If you still do not believe what I'm saying, then just check the product out. It costs only $1 US. And if you're not satisfied, then I guarantee I will even refund that $1 US to you. And also guys, if you're enjoying my content, then like this video because that will help in performing this video better in algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the bell button so that you will be notified when I release a new video. And let's move forward with the main video when we say like DHV. So let's see what Ross has to say.
Demonstrating higher value, telling DHV stories. Is it really demonstrating higher value, or is it just being really good as a storyteller, which is fine? Learning to tell stories is something that I teach. But I think there's a distinction between telling a story about how you are of higher value and actually showing it.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're really doing there is getting focus.
In one way, it is correct that when you are telling your story to the girl, DHV story or normal story or whatever story, you're talking to the girl, then girl need to have focus on you. Otherwise, she is not. It's not going to work. So, in all type of game, girl has to have focus on what you have to say. So in one way, he's correct.
Which is something you can do with speed seduction. And my claim is you do it a lot quicker. So you're the one who created it. I don't want to put words in your mouth. When you're doing a DHV, are you really demonstrating a higher value, whatever value means?
Well, I'd love.
Actually, if you see the face of Ross Jeffries, whatever the value means, so he's not liking this concept of DHV. So, okay, let's see what Mystery has to say.
I'd love to get to defining it, if I may.
Yeah, please.
This is something very important, is to understand what attraction is. So what is the purpose of life? We know the meaning, or rather, I cannot tell you the meaning of life, but we know the purpose of life, which is to survive and replicate. We've got roughly 28,000 days to make that happen.
On evolution basis, yeah, of course, it is correct that survive and replicate. This is how it is on evolutionary level. This is correct. I agree.
To survive and replicate. Replication is just a genetic means of continued survival. So you can't separate the two. It's not just survive, or replicate. It's survive and replicate. If I align with someone with value, survival and replication value, if they can demonstrate survival and replication value for me, I will wish to align with them to improve my chances as well. When I look to a woman, I look more for replication value than survival value. And generally women look towards men more for survival value than replication value. But again, you cannot separate the two. That is the purpose of life, not the meaning. I don't know the meaning of life, but the purpose of life is to survive and replicate. That's what value is. It's survival and replication value. And the neat thing is, if you can demonstrate some key DHVs, demonstrations of higher value, pings within a story, that's what makes a DHV story. It's just a story of your choice with a couple bragging spikes built in. No one else is going to brag for you. And the
what spikes?
The wingman. Yeah, a couple spikes. And you don't want the DLVs, demonstration.
So it is like the bragging spikes. It should be done in a very subtle way, and definitely it can work if it is done correctly, but depends on the personality of the guy who is saying. For example, if a guy looking like a nerd, for example, walking on the street, or and just go to the girl and he said that he is a movie producer, or he is a music producer, or he is kind of some celebrity, some small celebrity, or like having something like that, he said, and then is not able to be congruent to what he's saying, then it's not gonna work. So or some nerd looking guy, he's saying that, oh, I was there in Hollywood, and then I was like having like two models was with me, and one was like a stripper, and XYZ, and blah 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 blah, and the girl will say like, this guy is like bullshitting, because this kind of personality cannot have like friends with model girls or stripper girls or something like that. So it need to be slightly congruent to your personality, DHV. That is a very important thing to consider when you are doing DHV.
Of lower value. But that makes up, those key moments where, if, for instance, I were to say, I went to the Hollywood sign, and if you go there, I went there with a girlfriend who, if you're so inclined to rating women from 1 to 10, which I'd never do, she was off the charts, a very beautiful, beautiful actress. And we jumped the fence, went up to the Hollywood sign, touched it for good luck. Trust me, it works. I'll pause here. The fact that I'm talking about a beautiful girl is the DHV. I would rather have girls with me, of course, like we did yesterday. We had girls with us, and then you can open up adjacent groups very proficiently because you have girls with you. But what if you don't have women with you? You have to start from scratch. You've got to put your best foot forward. So you can trigger attraction by triggering the 5 key DHVs that make a woman, or not make her, that allow her to feel that you have value for her. And I have defined the 5 DHVs thusly. First is pre-selection.
I agree with that. Pre-selection is a very solid, higher value concept. Social proof or pre-selection, definitely I agree.
80% of all attraction is a woman knowing that you're pre-selected by other women. That presumes
definitely, like if the girl knowing that you are selected by other girls, then it definitely plays to your favor.
You have all the other characteristics. Pre-selection is number 1. Leader of men, protector of loved ones, a willingness to emote, to show a rich range of emotion, not hide behind a smile, the American smile, and successful risk taker.
I mean, these all are like positive traits of a masculine man, and they are all like correct what he's saying. Willingness to emote is something I have seen a lot of guys are not able to do in game. That is something is very, very important also in game, like how emotive you are, how expressive you are. So that is, I mean, all the 5 points what he has said, I do agree.
If you can convey
here's my point, Aaron. Here's my point.
It triggers attraction. Go ahead.
Here's my point. Is telling a story that you did that actually demonstrating it, or is it just telling a good story. Someone may not believe your story. Look, I understand if you're in a, hold on, if you're in a society and you're someone who's got the highest status and you actually are protecting your loved ones and you're showing it, are you actually really demonstrating it, or are you telling a story about where you demonstrated it? And I think it's a really important distinction. In speed seduction, I'm not interested in talking about myself. That's not what I believe we should be doing. We ought to be capturing and leading the imagination and the emotions and the focus of a woman.
So here is interesting thing what he is saying, that in speed seduction he is not interested in talking about himself, and I do agree why he's saying this. So you have to understand one thing is that like Ross now okay, he is old, I don't know, reaching his 70s. So the time when he was okay, I will say like he is not as good looking as Mystery when it comes to looks, but he is still above 6 feet. I think he's 6'2" or some mix. Mystery is 6'5" and he's 6'2". But one good thing about Ross Jeffrey is that he has a very commanding tonality, good grasp of the English language, accent and everything. So, and he is like, okay, he's a Jew, but he is still like, you can say he's still looking like he's like a white guy or something like that. So, so when he is going to the girl, when he was in his peak form, when he was in his prime period, he was going to the girl, he was talking with that kind of, imagine yourself, younger version of Ross Jeffries, or even like now he's maybe like reaching 70s, but even with late 40s or in 40s, he is going to a hot girl like 20 years ago, like 15 years, maybe 15 years or 20 years ago, he is going to a girl talking like a tall with commanding voice, still like a okay looking guy, going to the girl and speaking with a commanding tone. The girl is not, the girl will see him as a like like high status guy in a way that he is not going to see him as a, oh, who is this low status guy, something like that. So that plays in his favor, but Ross Jeffrey has to also understand like lot of guys are not having these kind of traits. Some IT nerd from Silicon Valley or California is speaking with like a voice of a like hello, like I don't want to imitate like these like not that kind of commanding voice. Some guy who is like maybe 5'7", skinny guy, not having that kind of physical presence, not having that kind of commanding voice. When he's going to the girl, now imagine he's going to the girl, then he is not able to bring that kind of effect what Ross Jeffrey able to bring. You understand? So these things need to be also considered. So what I want to say here is that when you're going to the girl and girl is not knowing anything about you, based on your voice, based on your presence, girls can judge you. And if the judgment is going in a positive direction, it's fine. You don't really need to talk too much about yourself. But if the judgment can go in a negative direction, then it is better to talk about yourself in a form of cleverly designed small DHV stories. While talking about, while conversation with the girl, you speak these kind of small DHV stories. In my game, I say like when I teach my student my style of game, so I tell like in linear coaching, tell your story. For example, I repeat, tell your story. For me, tell your story. So when they are doing like for me, means that like now they have to talk about themselves in a positive way, small here and there, some DHV or something like that, so that the girl judgment on the guy who is talking to her will stay positive, will go in a positive direction rather than negative direction. If the guy, imagine like this mystery method, or sorry, imagine like some guy in like in USA, some black guy or brown guy, and going to the girl and just start to talk, this speed seduction thing. Uh, the girls don't know who is this guy. It can be anyone, some Asian guy, or even some like average looking white guy going to the girl on the street. We're talking about 2024 now, present time. So having some DHV is not a bad thing. Talking about yourself in a slightly positive manner, so that the girl will not judge you that you are some kind of crazy guy. They will not judge you in a negative way, and then she's more open to listen to you.
By using certain techniques and speaking in a certain way, and by the energy we bring to the approach. How do we prepare before we go out? What are the rituals? What are the things we do to prepare our state? So I am not interested in starting the conversation by talking about myself, or even talking about myself very much at all.
Here you have to understand, when he's not interested in conversation talking about himself. The problem is that he has a personality. He's a very commanding, dominant personality. When he talk, people listen. When he was in his prime time, in his prime age, like 20 years ago, when I can imagine when he was on the street talking to the girl, in many situations the girl stop and listen to him, and then what he has to say. But imagine now, we're talking about this present time, how the situation has changed, and some guy like some nerd watching him, and then he try to learn these pattern. He learned the pattern what Ross Jeffries says, and go to the girl and immediately start to talk to, excuse me, and start to talk to girl and speak this pattern. It's not gonna work. It is just not going to work. That's the problem with the system, because he's already on that kind of high SMV level, not because of his looks, but because of his physical presence in one way. I mean, not because of his like facial. He's not that attractive looking, but he's still like tall and having a commanding voice, good grasp of English. So these things play a role, and not everyone is having that kind of traits, and that's why his system is like not became that popular. If the system was working, you have to understand, if the system was working, like definitely like some people may have get results from Ross Jeffrey system, but there will be no need to develop any other system in the market. So even mystery system was working, for example, then there would be no need to develop any other system. So there are some flaws in these systems, and that's why some new system also came in the market, and which are much more effective, also much more effective and much more result oriented, also practically proven in the field. For example, my system, which works, which is practically proven in the field, USA, UK, all Western countries with all races, it works.
I think it could, in certain situations, come off as bragging, if it's done right. Yeah. And
art form.
And I've talked to so many women who've said the number one mistake, the number one thing we can't stand about guys, is they talk about themselves. So what I would like to introduce is some of the things that
talking about the self, you are not going to talk about yourself like that narcissistic guy. Oh, I am cool. Oh, I have this company. Oh, I am this. I'm a doctor. Oh, I do surgery. Oh, I do this thing, this thing. You're not speaking in that way. You are speaking in a very subtle way. When you are demonstrating these values. So Ross is taking this thing Ross Jeffries is right now taking this thing in a very different way, that he's talking about the guys who are like openly bragging about how cool they are. Of course, when you're openly bragging about how cool you are, it's not going to work. It can work in some geographic locations, maybe Latin America or Southeast Asia, but in Western countries, it may not work. I hope you've enjoyed this video and got a lot of value out of it. By the way, guys, if you are still suffering in your dating life, not able to find any solution for the problems you are facing in your dating life, now it's time to change it forever. And if you really want to get guided by me personally in my mentorship program or in my one-on-one bootcamp program, then apply to the link in the description below. The link is deepakdating.info/mentorship. But keep in mind, my mentorship program or my one-on-one bootcamp program are in very high in demand with a very limited availability. They are also costly. So only if you are fully motivated, committed, and prepared emotionally and mentally, want to get guided by me personally, only then apply to the mentorship or my bootcamp program. If right now the cost is the issue, or you are not able to do my mentorship program or my bootcamp program due to any personal reason and still want to change your dating life, then I suggest you to join Dating Infields Domination. The link is also in the description below. The first link, it's only $1, completely risk-free. You can cancel it anytime you want to. There you will see pure uncut infield interaction of me as well as my students getting laid, getting girlfriends. Listen word by word, line by line, infield interactions in this program, Dating Infields Domination, and learn top-level seduction skills which no other dating coach in this world can able to teach you. I challenge it. So what you will see in Dating Infields Domination in the infields, that is something you will be personally learning from me in my mentorship program or my one-on-one bootcamp program in future if you plan to join it. So apply to the link in the description below for a 30-minute free call, deepakdating.info/mentorship. If you really want to get mentored by me personally and change your dating life, or other alternative, join Dating Infields Domination. The link is also in the description below. If you are not really sure right now for mentorship program or my one-on-one bootcamp program. Also guys, don't forget to watch the playlist Rock Solid Infield on this channel, where I'm doing live flirt, picking up girls in front of camera, showing top level pickup and attraction skills. Also don't forget to watch Student Transformation and Testimonial, where I'm teaching my students, showing full documentaries, student success and their testimonials also.